Jai, welcome everybody. Hare Krishna. This is such a sweet time, just like we're seeing Caitlin with her babies. It's such a sweet time of Krishna's pastimes also with Mother Yasoda. And as I mentioned in one of the emails, this chapter that we're headed into, that we're in now, describing Krishna's childhood pastimes, kind of elevates his experience from being just with his mother and father, which really small babies generally only interact with them, to the point where he's going out and experiencing life in the village. And therefore, everyone in the village is also of Gokul, is also starting to meet Krishna and Balaram as they come out and develop as they evolve through their ages. So let's go into the texts and share these wonderful rasas. This is still May, lessons 6 and 7. And Samapriya, you want to pick somebody to read, please? You have to unmute.
Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone. Nice to see you. Kate, are you capable of reading, or we'll just wait a little bit?
I should be able to read.
Why don't you start then, while the
Hare
baby is
Krishna.
nice and peaceful?
Thank you. Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 10, Canto 10, chapter 11, text 7 through 9. The gopis would say, "If you dance, my dear Krishna, then I shall give you half a sweetmeat." By saying these words, or by clapping their hands, all the gopis encouraged Krishna in different ways. At such times, although he was the supremely powerful personality of Godhead, he would smile and dance according to their desire, as if he were a wooden doll in their hands. Sometimes he would sing very loudly at their bidding. In this way, Krishna came completely under the control of the gopis. Should I continue?
Yes.
Sometimes Mother Yashoda and her gopi friends would tell Krishna, "Bring this article or bring that article." Sometimes they would order him to bring a wooden plank, wooden shoes, or a wooden measuring pot, and Krishna, when thus ordered by the mothers, would try to bring them. Sometimes, however, as if unable to raise these things, he would touch them and stand there, just to invite the pleasure of his relatives. He would strike his body with his arms to show that he had sufficient strength. So cute. To pure devotees throughout the world who could understand his activities, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna exhibited how much he can be subdued by his devotees, his servants. In this way, he increased the pleasure of the Vrajavasis by his childhood activities.
Do you want to read the purport?
Sure. Purport. That Krishna performed childhood activities to increase the pleasure of his devotees was another transcendental humor. He exhibited these activities not only to the inhabitants of Rajabhumi, but also to others who were captivated by his external potency and opulence. Both the internal devotees, who were simply absorbed in love of Krishna, and the external devotees, who were captivated by his unlimited potency, were informed of Krishna's desire to be submissive to his servants. Not only Krishna's Vishvanatha Chakravarti Thakura, not only Krishna's relatives, but all the Vrajavasis enjoyed unlimited bliss from his childhood pastimes, wherein he allowed himself to come under their control. Krishna showed this aspect of himself being controlled by his devotees' love directly to those external devotees, like Brahma and Shiva, who were captivated by Krishna's potency of majestic opulence, because it cannot be understood merely by explanations.
Oh, what a wonderful thing. It includes both the material and spiritual energy, devotees who are absorbed in both. That was very interesting to me. Can someone comment on that? Both the internal devotees who are simply absorbed in love of Krishna and the external devotees who are captivated by his unlimited potency were informed of Krishna's desire to be submissive to his servants. What is that? What does that mean? Anyone? Charya?
He's very versatile.
He's very versatile.
He can and can appeal to, the highest, to all the devotees on the spectrum, even neophytes like me. I mean, it's so cute hearing these pastimes, but what do I know?
Well, you're
But yeah.
learning. You're learning what it is to be a mother. Very, very much so. Anyone else?
This is actually a theme that's going to be, it's like a thread. A thread, you know how when a weaver is going to make a tapestry, he or she will create a pattern and then put the thread on the loom according to how they want that pattern to develop. So this pattern, this theme of Krishna being submissive to his devotees is a theme especially in Braj. Whereas outside of Braj, there's more of that awe and reverence toward the opulence and power of God. Here, it's more like more human nature. We see that in our own nature also. If we love someone and they request us to do something, love actually means that one will forego his or her own desires for the pleasure of someone else that they love. So, and Krishna is showing in this circumstance that even he, as the supreme personality of Godhead, enjoys this nature, has this nature, and we saw it earlier. No, we'll see it later with Mother Yasoda, especially, how he'll become subservient and allow to himself to be bound. And then we'll see it even further with so-called external devotees, as described in this purport, when Lord Brahma becomes completely bewildered by Krishna's power and energy and intimacy with his own friends. So
Okay.
it's a wonderful theme to keep in mind as we progress through these topics.
Bhadra, did you want to say something? Thank you, Hati. That was fully
Hare
nice
Krishna, Dandavati
explanation.
everybody. I was gonna kind of coming in the same point with Dhruv Maharaj Prabhu is telling, because in the commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Vishwanath mentioned about Brahma and Shiva, and there is a difference in the relationship of the Brajvasis than the relationship of Brahma and Lord Shiva. Even though Lord Shiva is actually taking part in all the pastimes of Krishna, but still there is a difference, because we know Brahma and Shiva are by the passion, and they are given the responsibility of, even though Shiva is the Vaishnava Sambhu, but he still has that tinge of that given the responsibility. So their relationship is different than Prajvasi's relationship. That's
Well,
what.
the responsibility, but not necessarily being affected more than anyone
Yes,
else
of
by
course.
modes of nature. Yeah. Thank you.
I don't think he was talking about modes of nature. He's talking about the unique, one of the main themes, talking about
Yes.
themes, one of the main themes, one of the biggest themes in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, these first parts of it, the first 40 chapters, is Braj Prema. The
Yeah,
love
that's
of the
Brahman.
love and the
Thank you.
relationship between Krishna and those residents of that particular dimension is unlike any other relationships with everyone else. It's so profoundly focused on love.
And it's the biggest planet in the spiritual world.
Yes.
So actually, most living entities are involved in that intimacy. Acharya?
Hare Krishna. Oh, I'm sorry. Were you going to say something, Prabhu?
No, I didn't. I thought your lips were moving and you were
Oh.
muted, so I was just going to say unmute.
I just wanted to sort of go back to Mataji's very first point about how this is for the internal devotees and the external devotees both. So that's a point that I really liked, because the external devotees, if you could call me a devotee, that includes me. So, and Krishna is performing his pastimes in the spiritual world, but it's also put in the Bhagavatam, and then we can hear it here. And we're not, I'm as external as they get, but I get hear about this, how Krishna is submissive to his devotees. So it's not just for the enjoyment of the pure devotees in the spiritual world, but it also inspires us in the material world, struggling to be devotees to attain that. So I like that. I like that angle very much.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. Thank you. That's
No, wonderful. Nice point.
anyone else on this topic? Okay, let's move on then. Acharya, would you like to continue? Thank you, Kate, for that.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 11, Text 10 and 11. Once a woman selling fruit was calling, "O inhabitants of Rajabhumi, if you want to purchase some fruits, come here." Upon hearing this, Krishna immediately took some grains and went to barter as if he needed some fruits. While Krishna was going to the fruit vendor very hastily, most of the grains he was holding fell. Nonetheless, the fruit vendor filled Krishna's hands with fruits, and her fruit basket was immediately filled with jewels and gold. Purport. From this incident, one should learn that for anything offered to Krishna with love and affection, Krishna can reciprocate many millions of times over, both materially and spiritually. The basic principle involved is an exchange of love. With love and affection, one should try to give something to Krishna from one's source of income. Then one's life will be successful. Krishna is full in all opulences. He does not need anything from anyone. But if one is prepared to give something to Krishna, that is for one's own benefit. The example given in this connection is that when one's real face is decorated, the reflection of one's face is automatically decorated. Similarly, if we try to serve Krishna with all our opulences, we, as parts and parcels or reflections of Krishna, will become happy in exchange. Krishna is always happy, for he is Atma Rama, fully satisfied with his own opulence.
Okay, I have a very big question here because it always bewilders me and even others that I speak with, that bewildering to them. So how does Krishna show his reciprocation to the devotee? Sometimes we're working so hard to be devotees, we can't understand this reciprocation. How do you do it? What is that about? Acharya.
Well, one thing is, if we expect or even worse, demand that reciprocation come in terms of some material facility or material opulence, then there's a good chance that we're going to end up disappointed, because Krishna may or may not give those things. So Krishna's reciprocation, one aspect, like Bhagavatam says in the first canto, that he's in the heart. And if we perform our devotional service from within the heart, he'll purify our heart. That should be the kind of reciprocation we're looking for. But if you want the reciprocation, I'll give some fruit to the temple and I'll come home and find my bank account increased by X amount, like we're the fruit lady in Vrindavan, then, we may end up disappointed. And even if we get it, it's a distraction. Plus, we may not get it.
Okay. Madhurya has something to add to that. Thank you. Madhurya?
Well, I think he's always reciprocating. It's our consciousness, how we perceive it. So something bad may happen in our life, and we think that's not reciprocation, but that is his reciprocation, because he's doing it to help us understand something, or that what we need to learn, and and there's something good in it. So down the road, something good will come out of it. So I think he's always doing it. It's just our consciousness, I think, of viewing it.
I see. Vajra?
I want to say something about these pastimes. So before I say something, let someone else has to talk about this, your question.
Okay. Acharya, you said something about we shouldn't expect anything, but from Krishna, we shouldn't expect a material reciprocation or opulence or wealth. So, but what about one of the 6 processes of surrender is to expect Krishna's mercy. How does that reveal itself?
In that case, I would concur with what Her Grace Mother Madhurya Leela said, that Krishna is more intelligent than we are, and he's more in control than we are. So we should understand, like she said, that everything Krishna does is already perfectly reciprocating and even more. So it's not a matter of doing something to get Krishna to change his behavior towards us to make him reciprocate more, so-called more, but to understand that he's already giving us everything we deserve and more. That's how I would look at it. Because again, if you have some preconceived notion of what Krishna's reciprocation is, he may or may not choose to reciprocate in that
But
particular.
what if you're looking for a spiritual reciprocation, not necessarily material? You're referring to whether our material situation is Krishna's going to reciprocate with me materially. What about spiritually?
Even spiritually, we can't what's the word I'm looking for? Like pigeonhole how Krishna is going to reciprocate even spiritually. I mean, in general, he inspires us, he gives us realization, he purifies us in the heart. But if we have a preconceived notion of how Krishna is going to reciprocate spiritually, that also may not fit into Krishna, our plan and our individual conception of what's best for my spiritual life. Even that Krishna knows better than I do.
Nanda? Thank you, Acharya.
I would say, similar to what Acharya Prabhu was just saying towards the very end, is that Krishna's reciprocation is that he grants us more and more attraction to his service and to hearing about it. That's a very big reciprocation that often can go unappreciated if you have, like he was saying, you have a preconceived conception of how you want that reciprocation to be. But just like in Kunti Devi's prayer, she's praying for those calamities to come again and again, not for calamity's sake, but for her consciousness sake, which gets fixed on Krishna more and more. So that.
Good, beautiful. Good. That's always a great topic. Thank you.
Could I throw in one more little comment about that?
Please. Sure.
When Prabhupada was a businessman and his business was failing, and he was thinking, "Oh, why is Krishna doing this to me?" And then he read in Srimad Bhagavatam that Harishe Taddanam Shanai. How does that? I can't remember how the verse starts, but Krishna saying that when I'm Harishe Taddanam Shanai. That Krishna says when I'm feeling especially merciful to someone, I take away everything. And Prabhupada said, "Oh, when I read that, I was horrified." So he had to, seemingly Prabhupada had a conception of how he wanted Krishna to reciprocate, but when he heard this other thing, but then he accepted it.
He was horrified. Hare Krishna. Wonderful.
Badger had some more on this pastime that he
Badgerji.
wanted to mention.
Yeah, thank you. Srila Prabhupada mentioned, it's in the purport says that this fruit lady was an Aboriginal lady, and she was crossing Jamuna, bringing the fruits. And before she had a miscarriage. And when the ladies has a miscarriage, at that time, when the other ladies are playing with their children, that consciously they are affected. Consciously, their mind is always thinking when the other ladies have children, they are playing with it. So she was in that anxiety. Because she had a miscarriage. But then when she was approached, she approached by a great personality, and the great personality told her that you go there, and there is the most beautiful person is the little boy is there. His name is Damodar. Now, actually, when she was selling the fruits, because in India, when the fruit sellers say, banana lo, kera lo, whatever they say. But when she heard about these fruits, about this Damodar, she was always chanting Damodara Namaha. That's a nice song. Krishna Damodaranam, she was singing that, and she would move around the palace of palace of Nanda Maharaj and Jashoda. But the point is that they would not allow her inside because she's a virgin lady. So she was outside. Instead of selling the fruits, she was keep calling Damodara. And there is whole song about all the song about by what's that the Damodara Nama, Krishna Nama. There is whole song of that last one. So that's what she was calling. And Krishna was hearing this as a little boy, and
That's
he
beautiful.
came and all the gopis and all were there in their courtyard. And because the Nand Maharaj was he was a Vaishya, so he had all the hills of the grains in their
Oh,
courtyard.
yeah.
Yes. So when
Oh.
Krishna was hearing this, keep hearing this, at that time, Krishna somehow want to sneak away from there. And Krishna just took, what can I do? Then Krishna knew how to barter it. He knew that I give something, then he gets something else. So he thought, let me take this few grains in my hand. And he took and he snatched away and he opened the went out and he saw this lady here. Now lady is sitting there with all the fruits there. And then when she wanted to have him sit in her lap because it's Krishna. She was so attracted with just looking this beautiful form of the Lord, and she wanted him to sit in her lap. But he said he was not sure about it because he thought that other cowherd boys will see sitting in her lap as a mother, then the mother Jasoda will chastise me because he is selling her mother. He's telling him because she wanted to be as like her mother and wanted to sit. She wanted her like to do that. So she just sat for just 1 second in her lap and got up and said, now give me some fruits. So he said, but there is no grains in it. There was only one or couple of grains in his hand. Small hands, how much grains can he hold? And while he was walking, all the grains were fallen down on the floor, on the road. So anyhow, he gave a few, and she gave him a fruits. How many fruits he can carry in his small hands? Huh? So he just took a fruit and get out. But she is so absorbed in she was so enamored, just keep thinking of him, keep thinking of him. So when he went inside, Mother Jasoda saw the fruits and she's distributing fruits. The fruits becomes unlimited. All of them. And here
Okay.
outside, she is kept sitting and watching, keep thinking. She doesn't even get out. She doesn't even leave that place. All the way up to the evening. And finally, someone reminded, she left that place and she had to cross the Jamuna. But she threw. She saw that her basket was so heavy. So she threw all the ornaments in the Jamuna.
Huh.
But because she was so absorbed in him. And then nobody saw her or after that, nobody saw her. She had just left, went back home, back to God.
Wait,
So this is all written in a bhajan, in a song?
Yes,
where is this from exactly?
We've read in the Bhagavatam
Yeah.
that the residents of Vrindavan, especially, we had just read it or we'll read it in the story of Mother Yasoda. Yeah. When she was churning the butter, remember, she was singing the songs and pastimes.
Right.
We'll read also now, when they cross the Jamuna, when they're traveling from Gokul to Vrindavan, they're singing pastimes. So
Right.
this was the nature, and this is one of those. Do you know the author?
I have to find out, but this is the past time we
Wait
always
a
talk.
second.
We
Beautiful.
always talk this in past time in the parikrama.
Brajmandal Parikrama. Yeah, it's a
Yes.
beautiful
It's beautiful. Oh,
meditation
yeah.
that someone wrote a bhajan.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Wait a
Right.
minute, just a second. I'm sorry to be the skeptic here.
Go ahead.
Who wrote this? Where is it? Is it a scriptural, or is it, where does it come from? Because it's beautiful. It sounds magnificent and beautiful. But I'm stuck on where it came from. I don't know where it came from.
He said he'll look it up.
You'll look it up. Okay, that's important. That even though it sounds like a perfect thing, I would like to know where it came
Acharya's got his hand
from.
raised.
I can't say exactly where it came from, but I have heard Dina Bandhu tell this roughly, this version of the story, and he said it's just like a Brijavasi. Folklore is the wrong word, but often the Brijavasis will take these stories and sort of develop them and expand them a little. And some of them may have,
Well,
some of them may not have literal scriptural basis.
I'm not saying from the Brajbasis. This is by the Gaudiya Vaishnava previous Acharya has told about this.
Oh, yeah, well, then,
Yes.
see, we know that Prabhupada also said that that's some source of knowledge to hear from, there's different kinds of sources of knowledge. But I'm always interested to know where it comes from, because, you know, you give your life to what you hear, you give your life. And that's certainly a very wonderful story. And I can't give my.
I think we can all appreciate it and move on.
Okay, we appreciate it. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Not that I don't appreciate it. All right, let's go on now. Nanda, are you there, Nanda? I know Nanda is a great believer,
Yeah.
and sometimes
You
she
remember
gets
Psalm 10, 11, 12, verses 12 to 17.
yeah.
Once, after uprooting the Yamala Arjuna trees, Rohini Devi went to call Ram and Krishna, who had both gone to the riverside and were playing with the other boys with deep attention. Because of being too attached to playing with the other boys, Krishna and Balaram did not return upon being called by Rohini. Therefore, Rohini sent Mother Yasoda to call them back, because Mother Yasoda was more affectionate to Krishna and Balaram. Krishna and Balaram, being attached to their play, were playing with the other boys, although it was very late. Therefore, Mother Yasoda called them back for lunch. Because of her ecstatic love and affection for Krishna and Balaram, milk flowed from her breasts. Mother Yasoda said, "My dear son Krishna, lotus-eyed Krishna, come here and drink the milk of my breast. My dear darling, you must be very tired because of hunger and fatigue of playing for so long. There's no need to play anymore. My dear Baladev, best of our family, please come immediately with your younger brother Krishna. You both ate in the morning, and now you ought to eat something more. Nanda Maharaj, the king of Raj, is now waiting to eat. Oh, my dear son Balaram, he is waiting for you. Therefore, come back to please us. All the boys playing with you and Krishna should now go to their homes." Port. It appears that Nanda Maharaj regularly took his food with his two sons, Krishna and Balaram. Excuse me. Yasoda told the other boys, "Now you should go to your homes." Father and son generally sit together. So Mother Yasoda requested Krishna and Balaram to return, and she advised the other boys to go home so that their parents would not have to wait for them.
Okay, please tell us what this means.
It means that Mother Yasoda, Prabhupada mentions, or I guess it's going to come up in some of the purports, Mother Yasoda's love for Krishna was super excellent, higher than anyone's. She was more fortunate than anyone. She had more love for Krishna and Balaram, even than Rohini did. Isn't that interesting, huh? Yeah.
What does that mean? That also confused me, because you see it all through here, that her love was more, she had more affection. And I felt bad for Rohini. I couldn't understand that. Can you shed some light?
It means everybody has an individual relationship with Krishna, even the exalted soul. So she had more love for, I mean, I don't know any more than just somehow or other. I read it and just accepted it. I don't know.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Anyone else?
I found it interesting that everybody, or when we were talking about it, some of that you focused on that little section where it says, because she's more fortunate, then it described that the milk started to flow from her breast, whereas it didn't describe that happened to Rohini Devi. But even when Mother Yasoda called them, it seems to me that the boys continued playing. They didn't just all of a sudden stop. And then what did she do? She thought, oh, if I tell them Nanda Maharaj is waiting, then they'll be submissive. So it's actually their love and respect for Nanda Maharaj that stopped the play and brought them home. That's another way to kind of look at that. But I think it's beautiful also, kind of an unspoken teaching that I put. That's why I use this particular photograph or painting, because it's important for a family to spend time together. In the world today with so much childcare and people going to school and mother and father working, sometimes they don't spend enough time with the children, and it's just an interesting feature how Nanda Maharaj and the boys and the family would spend time together.
It's beautiful. Yes, Acharya.
Yeah, I really love that point, Dhruva Prabhu, about and to even generalize more, to use Krishna's pastimes as a model for our own family life. Of course, it has to be done intelligently. Not everything's applicable, but I really like that idea, especially, the family eating together. I remember that with my son. I quit working when my son was born so I could eat with him and be with him and play with him. So I really like that idea. Also, there's in Nectar of Devotion, Prabhupada gives a list of the top 9 devotees with parental affection. And the first 3 from memory is Yashoda is number 1, then Nanda, and then Rohini.
Nice. Okay. Shall we go on? Thank you, Acharya, and everyone else. Bhadra, would you like to read?
Yes, thank you. 1 minute. I'm trying. Okay. That's in 18 to 20. Mother Jasoda further told Krishna, my dear son, because of playing all day, your body has become covered with dust and sand. Therefore, come back, take your bath and cleanse yourself. The moon is conjoined with the auspicious star of your birth. Therefore, be pure and give cows in charity to the Brahmanas. Just see how all your playmates of your own age have been cleansed and decorated with beautiful ornaments by their mothers. You should come here, and after you have taken your bath, eaten your lunch, and been decorated with ornaments, you may play with your friends again. My dear Maharaj Parikshit, because of intense love and affection, Mother Jasoda, Krishna's mother, considered Krishna, who was at the peak of all opulences, to be her own son. Thus she took Krishna by the hand, along with Balram, and brought them home, where she performed her duties by fully bathing them, dressing them, and feeding them. Purport. It is a custom of Vedic culture that whenever there is an auspicious ceremony, one should give valuable cows in the charity to the Brahmanas. Therefore, Mother Jasoda requested Krishna, instead of being enthusiastic in playing, now please come and be enthusiastic in charity. As advised in Bhagavata 18.5, sacrifice, charity, and austerity should never be given up. Yagya danam tapaschaiva pavanani manishinam. Even if one is very much advanced in spiritual life, one should not give up these 3 duties. To observe one's birthday ceremony, one should do something in terms of one of these 3 items, Yagya, Dana, and Tapa, or all of them together. Krishna is always neat, clean, and opulent, and does not need to be washed, bathed, or dressed. Yet Mother Jasoda, because of affection, considered him her ordinary child and did her duties to keep her son brilliant.
You have to unmute, Sama.
Could you put that back to the text again? Those 3 words were really significant. Yagya, Dana, and Tapa. Can you say something about that? That seems to be very important.
Yes, we had just Bhagavad Gita class this morning about it on 18th chapter. Yagya, Dana, and Tapa, whether you are a brahmachari or grihastha or Gyan Prasad sannyasi, doesn't matter. These 3 things which should be never given up. And Yajna is, of course, Dan is, of course, is the charity. And Tapa means austerity. And Yajna means sacrifices. These three should be never given up, doesn't matter. According to your capacity, you should give. That is the Vedic culture. And that's what we also in Krishna consciousness, we also doing that anyhow. We are doing Yajna, we are doing Tapa. And we are doing, we giving charity, whatever according to our capacity. Our Yajna is the Harinam, right? That's our Harinam, that's our Yajna. And Tapa is, we know, following four regulative principles and doing devotional service, Dana. And Dana is give charity, whatever we can according to our capacity.
It's with the austerities. That is, these
Yeah.
things should be followed. In ordinary life, those three things we're following anyway. We're all practicing austerity. You know, we give some charity. So these are very important factors in human life to continue.
Would
Anyone else?
giving Krishna consciousness be considered giving in charity as well?
Excuse me?
Giving Krishna consciousness,
Oh,
preaching.
the highest, the best.
Yeah.
The best charity to be given is to awaken someone. Prabhupada speaks about this constantly. The best charity to be given is to help someone understand his eternal nature, his relationship with Krishna. There's nothing more. That's the real welfare activity. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you, Bhadraji. Madhurya, why don't you continue reading?
Let's see.
All right.
So this is so I'm on my phone, so it's hard to. Okay, so it's the Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 11, 21 to 27.
Good.
Sri Shukadev Goswami continued. Then one time, having seen the great disturbances in Braj, Vrindavan, all the elderly persons among the cowherd men, headed by Nanda Maharaj, assembled and began to consider what to do to stop the continuous disturbing situation in Braj. At this meeting, all the inhabitants of Gokula, a cowherd man named Upananda, who was the most mature in age and knowledge, and was very experienced according to times, circumstances, and country, made this suggestion for the benefit of Rama and Krishna. He said, "My dear friends, the cowherd men, in order to do good to this place, Gokula, we should leave it, because so many disturbances are always occurring here, just for the purpose of killing Rama and Krishna. The child Krishna, simply by the mercy of the Supreme Personality Godhead, was somehow or other rescued from the hands of the Rakshasi Putana, who was determined to kill him. Then again, by the mercy of the Supreme Godhead, the handcart missed falling upon the child. Then again, the demon Trinavarta, in the form of a whirlwind, took the child away into the dangerous sky to kill him. But the demon fell down onto a slab of stone. In that case, also by the mercy of Lord Vishnu or his associates, the child was saved. Even the other day, neither Krishna nor any of his playmates died from the falling of the two trees, although the children were near the trees and even between them. This also is to be considered the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All these incidences are being caused by some unknown demon. Before he comes here to create another disturbance, it is our duty to go somewhere else with the boys until there are no more disturbances."
Wow.
The devotee desires only that he may execute devotional service undisturbed. Actually, we see, however, that even during the presence of Krishna, when Nanda Maharaj and the other cowherd men had the Supreme Personality Godhead in their presence, there were disturbances. Of course, in every case, Krishna came out victorious. The instruction we may derive from this is that we should not be disturbed by so-called disturbances. There have been so many disturbances to our Krishna consciousness movement, but we cannot give up our forward march. On the contrary, people are receiving this movement very enthusiastically all over the world, and they're purchasing literature about Krishna consciousness with redoubled energy. Thus, there are both encouragements and disturbances. This was also even in Krishna's time.
That's wonderful. That we have to continue on, no matter what happens in our own individual lives, and even pushing on Krishna consciousness. How do you relate to that, Joyiji?
Yeah, it brings to mind what Mother Kunti went through with, the Pandavas and so many, what Prabhupada went through. There's so many reverses that happened, so many attacks to the movement. And, so many people left being discouraged. But these are all meant to increase our attachment to Krishna and our determination. It's kind of, Prabhupada says, right? Don't be surprised by who leaves, be surprised by who stays. It's to weed out the, when you're churning and the undesirables, undesirable things come off and they get thrown away. So it's like that. So we can expect the disturbances, but we shouldn't be disturbed by them, even though they may be disturbing.
They're even called disturbances. Thank you. Ian?
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So there is a statement, like a lamp in a windless place. So it said, a lamp in a windless place does not waver. So as it says, whether disturbances or fortune or misfortune, one should be like a lamp in a windless place.
Good.
So I just remember that.
Perfect. That's from the Bhagavad Gita. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Acharya?
Yeah,
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that I love it so much. He doesn't do it a real lot, but occasionally when Prabhupada mentions his own personal experience, preaching experience, and his own International Society for Krishna Consciousness, when he mentions it in his purports, I really love it when that comes up. And this is just a nice example of that.
Yeah, we sometimes don't understand at what lengths Srila Prabhupada went and how much he sacrificed. Talking about charity and sacrifice, boy. He is
So
the
if these pure devotees, Mother Kunti and Prabhupada and all, can go through all this, who are we, right? Who are we? We can expect a lot of disturbances. They experience so many disturbances.
But they weren't disturbed by
Right.
the disturbances. They continued on. They marched on. Because there's a basic foundation here, understanding what is sat and what is asat. So if you're disturbed about the illusion, it's actually, that means that you're in illusion, right?
Not to throw too much of a wrench into the present appreciation of tolerating all the disturbances. Charya mentioned earlier that we can learn from Krishna's pastimes about how to understand our own situation and adapt accordingly. So we see here that Upananda isn't saying, boy, there's a lot of disturbances here. We really got a lot to tolerate. We should just stay here and tolerate it. On the other hand, he's saying, this is not safe for the children. We need to find another place. Not that it worked, but at least he tried to come up with a suggestion. Of course, we know it's all part of the ultimate plan of the Lord but Brijbasi actually means one who wanders, one who travels. So as this pastime unfolds, we'll see that they're actually going to pick up everything they own, all their cows, all their utensils, all their homes, and transfer to a whole nother location as a village. All the horses, all the animals, all the cows, hundreds and thousands crossing a river. And that could not have been easy in those days. So let's progress and read that now.
He also mentioned that it was for the protection of Gokula.
Yes. right. Yeah, if we want to do good for it, we should leave it.
Right. That's interesting. How would leaving it be good for it? Because maybe the demons are coming because of the presence of the Brijbasis there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on. Manvantara, would you like to read? Manvantara? Hare Krishna.
Hey, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
X28 and 29. Between Nadasvara and Mahavan is a place named Vrindavan. This place is very suitable because it is lush with grass, plants, and creepers for the cows and other animals. It has nice gardens and tall mountains and is full of facilities for the happiness of all the gopas and gopis and our animals. Therefore, let us immediately go today. There is no need to wait any further. If you agree to my proposal, let us prepare all the bullock carts and put the cows in front of us and let us go there.
Before we go to the purport, Manvantara, I just want to show everybody, because a lot of people might not be familiar. There was some forums and people wondering where these places were, if you could see it on a map. So let's go here to Mathura. This is where Kamsa was. This is Kamsa. This is the Jamuna River. So if you go south and to the east a little bit, you come to Gokul, Mahavan. In a previous verse, it was called Brihat Van. And this is where Vasudev took Krishna from Mathura, crossed the river, and came to Nanda Maharaj's abode in Gokul or Mahavan. Pretty much they're the same place. Here on a map, it shows it a little different. So this is where they are. And what Upananda is suggesting is that they go up to Vrindavan. They go north. And most people in today's world will cross the river via a bridge here, go to Mathura, and then go to Vrindavan. But naturally, because Kamsa was in Mathura, what they did was they'll travel along the banks of this Jamuna River to Bilvavan, and then cross the river to Keshigat. Of course, Keshigat hadn't happened yet, but it's a ghat right there. And they'll end up in Vrindavan and come to near Raman Reti. So just to give it, and what's happening here, if you follow it out this way, you come to Nandagram, where they'll move later in life, and Varsan is here. Yes, Nanda?
So where on the map is Chatikar?
Chatikar is like right here, Chatikar.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
This,
thanks.
this today is the road to from Delhi to Agra. Agra's down here. Delhi's here, and this is there. So there's Chatikar right here, and this is the road that's now Bhaktivedanta Swami Marg. It was called Chatikar Road.
Cars were they first, where we're going to see in the verses where they encircled their carts and had the
Yes, this is where they'll end up.
the cows.
And
That's
this-
Chatikar,
And this
right?
whole general area. Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, Manvantara, purports, please.
Purport. Vrindavan is situated between Nadasvara and Mahavan. Formerly, the cowherd men had shifted to Mahavan, but still there were disturbances. Therefore, the cowherd men selected Vrindavan, which was between the two villages, and decided to go there. Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur. We cannot return to our old capital in Nadasvara because we left there out of fear of Atisura and came to Mahavan. Atisura is still there. Between Mahavan and Nadasvara is a forest named Vrindavan. This place is very suitable for living and beneficial to the cows because it is filled with lush foliage and fresh gardens. Considering like this, Upananda spoke this verse.
This is also interesting. Just want to note that I didn't really understand this until I read it in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. Let's go back here again. He's saying in this purport that we cannot return to our old capital, Nandiswara, because we left there out of fear of Aristasura. and came to Mahavan. Aristasura is still there. So apparently, by this statement, the before Krishna's appearance, long before it, but when they were living prior to his appearance, they lived here in Nandagram. Then there was some disturbance from the bull demon Aristasura, so they actually shifted all the way down to Mahavan, lived there for some time. So he's saying we can't go back there because Aristasura is still, there's demons there, but between the two places, between Gokul and Nandagram, there's a beautiful forested area named Vrindavan. So let us go there. Anything else, Manvantara?
No, thank you.
Nanda?
So my confusion is that the mention of Aristasura, because Aristasura, when he attacks Krishna, he's one of the last demons that attacks Krishna before he leaves for Mathura. Am I, so I guess he must have just have been living there, but not, because it seems to me it's out of order. Mentioning Aristasura now, but
Well, they're not chronological. That pastime will happen later, but what it's implying in this particular purport is that Aristasura, at the bull demon, had harassed the Brijbasis even prior to Krishna's appearance.
yeah.
He was a demon.
Okay.
He was a bad bull. So he so much so that they left the area, and now again they're having to move.
I guess I had the impression, thank you for that clarification. I guess I had the impression that, Aristasura only appeared when he attacked Krishna, but that was my confusion. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else from anybody?
Manvantara, would you like to read the next one? Because that was kind of short. Oh, there's Acharya first. Acharya-ji?
Dhruva Prabhu, you said that map was drawn by a devotee, Achyuta Das.
Yes.
Is that the Russian devotee?
No, he's actually
Polish.
he's
Not the one
Polish,
who-
but he lives now in
Polish.
Alachua. He's the
And
one he was the one that was helping Hamsarupa build Srila Prabhupada's samadhi.
Okay, yeah, Polish, not Russian. Yeah, I knew
Yeah.
him.
Uh-huh. Yeah, nice devotee.
He's a real pistol.
Even when I looked up to try and find a good map of Braj Mandala, I liked his the best. I didn't choose it just because it was in the book. I chose it because it actually is clear. Many
Yeah.
of them have other features of trying to show the lotus.
Especially at that
Sure.
time.
Yeah,
Especially at that time,
without
good maps were hard to
computers.
come
I mean,
by.
basically without the internet or anything, he did a great job.
Yeah, but I know him from when he worked on the Samadhi.
Mhm.
Very
Yeah.
intense
Yeah.
devotee. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
All right, we'll just have Manvantara read this.
Upon hearing this advice from Upananda, the cowherd men unanimously agreed. Very nice, they said. Very nice. Thus they sorted out their household affairs, placed their clothing and other paraphernalia on the carts, and immediately started for Vrindavan. Keeping all the old men, women, children, and household paraphernalia on the bullock carts, and keeping all the cows in front, the cowherd men picked up their bows and arrows with great care and sounded bugles made of horn. O King Parikshit, in this way, with bugles vibrating all around, the cowherd men, accompanied by their priests, began their journey. The cowherd women, riding on the bullock carts, were dressed very nicely with excellent garments, and their bodies, especially their breasts, were decorated with fresh kumkum powder. As they rode, they began to chant with great pleasure the pastimes of Krishna. Thus, hearing about the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram with great pleasure, Mother Yashoda and Rohini Devi, so as not to be separated from Krishna and Balaram for even a moment, got up with them on one bullock cart. In this situation, they all looked very beautiful. In this way, they entered Vrindavan, where it is always pleasing to live in all seasons. They made a temporary place to inhabit by packing their bullock carts around them in the shape of a half moon.
Nice description. Okay, anyone have to say anything about these verses before we go on?
It supports what you were talking about earlier, and some of the other forum members were talking about earlier about internal devotees and external devotees. Because on that same cart, you know, Mother Yashoda, you know, who's like the best of the best in terms of love and affection and womanhood with Krishna and Balaram. And then Rohini has her accomplice, you know, Fred, and in the same way. And even though Krishna is showing that he exists in his verbal pastimes, you know, you recite a pastime about him, and he exists in that.
Yeah.
These two ladies are on the cart with other people, of course, and still they couldn't be away from Krishna, even though they're identifying with Krishna by rehearsing the pastime or reverberating the pastime. I don't know.
Can't be
it just
separated.
kind of
They
about
they
that.
can't
Yeah.
be separated from it. That was stressed in the verse and in the purport. They could not be separated. So as to have their association more. They wanted to go on the cart. And
Right,
keep them
but
with them.
if we're thinking of a physical association, but even in reverberating his pastimes,
Right.
it wasn't physical. It was a spiritual
Of course. Absolutely.
association.
And the sound vibration that we're speaking, this is also spiritual. We're actually associating with Krishna now by speaking his pastimes. Is that what you mean?
Exactly. We're associating with Krishna by speaking his pastime now. But it's so the ether is still so contaminating, but still, because Krishna is the absolute, we are still associating with him. But these two ladies, you know, they're doing both, spiritually associating with him, and of course they're transcendental, but physically they
Yeah.
still couldn't be away from him, you know, like
Wonderful.
it's like everything. They still couldn't be away
Greatly
from him.
fortunate. You're right.
Yeah.
Good thing. Nice that you caught that. Beautiful. Nanda?
So here's my question about this part of the storyline. Didn't they live in houses? Did they live in tents or something? I mean, and just amazing. They put everything on bullock carts and they went away. It seems like when it describes Vrindavan, it always describes the palace of Nanda Maharaj, the this, the that, and the opulent. So they didn't have that, or is that? Am I getting hung up on a minor detail? But it's
No, good point.
just bother-
Actually, when you go to Gokul today, they have pillars in the temple that are said to exist since that time.
And
So apparently they were detached. Now we might also remember that it mentioned that they previously lived in Nandagram. So, and we know they'll go back there. So maybe they had different abodes in different places
oh yeah.
that they could move to and from. But we also hear here, that was good to hear here, that they arranged the bullock carts in a half moon so as to be protective, and they stayed there for 3 years, and it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like they built too many abodes. You know, they must have had something, obviously, because Sama, what did you read in Gopala Champu about Nanda's cart, bullock cart?
It was like a palace. The cart was like a palace. It was very high, very big. Yeah, it was the first RV. It was huge, huge. Everything that one could want was there.
And on the bullock cart. She was explaining to me that she had a whole kitchen, Mother Yashoda, all the different utensils. Somehow or another, all their home paraphernalia was so well organized that it could fit on a huge cart and be pulled by the bulls. So we can
Bhadra
assume that's
also.
yeah. Bhadra, do you have any realizations on these traveling pastimes between places?
Well, this also shows that the for them, the most important is Krishna, their love for Krishna and Balaram. They don't care for the what material arrangements were there or not there. Because I mean, Mother Jasoda had 100,000 maid servants in the Gokul. So, I mean, these opulences and Braj opulences are there, and they were there. But because of the love for Krishna and Balaram, and because of these demons, they didn't care. They just left, and they left
Good point.
to go to Vrindavan.
Nice. Okay, doke. Sama, who's next?
Ian. Ian, would you like to speak? You know, also there's a difference. There isn't a difference between Gokula in the spiritual world and Gokula in manifesting on this realm. So when Vajra says that it was 100,000 maid servants, somehow or another, that is conceivable, according to it being completely spiritual. Thank you for that, Vajra. Okay, Ian.
Okay, so am I reading 36 to 38?
Yes.
Okay, so King Pariksit, when Rama and Krishna saw Vrindavan, Govardhan, on the banks of the river Yamuna, they both enjoyed great pleasure. In this way, Krishna and Balaram, acting like small boys and talking in half-broken language, gave transcendental pleasure to all the inhabitants of Braj. In due course of time, they became old enough to take care of the calves. Not far away from their residential quarters, both Krishna and Balaram, equipped with all kinds of playthings, played with the other co-ed boys and began to tend the small calves. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As soon as Krishna and Balaram were a little grown up, they were meant for taking care of the calves. Although born of a very well-to-do family, they still had to take care of the calves. This was a system of education. Those who were not born in Brahmana families were not meant for academic education. Brahmanas were trained in a literary academic education. The Kshatriyas were trained to take care of the state, and the Vaishyas learned how to cultivate land and take care of the cows and calves. There was no need to waste time going to school to be further educated and later increase the numbers of the unemployed. Krishna and Balaram taught us by their personal behavior. Krishna took care of the cows and played his flute. Balaram took care of agricultural activities with a plow in his hand.
Good. Very interesting, right? What do you have to say about that and education?
Yeah, so I been a teacher for nearly 20 years before I retired. I can see where it said that everybody's educated, just what you lump everybody together. So at the end of your schooling there's not more jobs, so you have a lot of educated people unemployed. So here it says that in those days, Brahmanas educated a certain way, the Kshatriyas are educated a certain way, and the Vaishyas were educated a certain way. So we could see that, for example, unlike now when we have a lot of people graduating from college with a little bit of employment. And also it is said that Krishna and Balaram, although they came from a well-to-do family, they still had to sort of be part of the kind of education. So they at a certain time would take care of the calves at a certain age. So it is said. So we see the big difference between education that time, the big education compared to now. So we see that in terms of unemployment, we would not have that in those, the Vedic times compared to now. So that's my little bit.
Sama, you have to unmute.
The whole Vedic culture is so practical, actually.
Yeah.
People don't have to waste their time learning things that they will never use and actually not even learning them.
And even from that very young age, they're getting practical on hands education, by their daily interaction with whatever may happen as they perform those duties. We still see in India, although it's becoming less and less, that the culture, even up to a generation or two ago, most of the boys would follow in their parents' footsteps and learn the trade that their father either had started or learned from his father and learned from his father. And that way the artisans, the different things that were handmade, the different activities that were there, even the genetic line of the cows was revered, because they would have specific cows breed with other specific cows to give the best milk. They still try to do that today, but Kali Yuga makes it so difficult, manda sumanda mateo, that it's very hard to do that in such an environment.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Ian?
Yeah, just so we see, they said that Krishna played his flute and Balaram was responsible for agricultural activities. So when you see Balaram with his plow, so you wonder, why is always at the plow? So he said, yeah, he was responsible for agricultural activities.
Nice.
And
Plowing the field.
plays the flute. Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of
Good.
nice. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, there's lots of bells and whistles today here. Very good. What is this? Oh my God, I'm sorry. Let's go on with Faye. Faye, why don't you read this, and then maybe your friend would like to partake too. I see him in the back there somewhere, so he can read the next one, if you like.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:11 verses 39 through 40. Sometimes Krishna and Balaram would play on their flutes. Sometimes they would throw ropes and stones devised for getting fruits from the trees. And sometimes they would throw only stones. And sometimes, their ankle bells tinkling, they would play football with fruits, like Bel and Malaki. Sometimes they would cover themselves with blankets and imitate cows and bulls and fight with one another, roaring loudly, and sometimes they would imitate the voices of the animals. In this way, they enjoyed sporting exactly like two ordinary children.
Does Neil want to read?
Sure. Hello, good morning to you.
Yes, hi.
Good morning. Hare
Nice to
Krishna.
meet you.
So there's one day with Rama and Krishna, along with their playmates, were tending to cows on the bank of the river Yamuna. Another demon arrived there, desiring to kill them. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead saw that the demon had assumed the form of a calf and entered among the groups of other calves, he pointed out to, you have to help me,
Baladev.
Baladeva, here is another demon. Then he very slowly approached the demon as if he did not understand the demon's intentions. Therefore, Sri
Krishna
caught the demon by the hind legs and tail, twirled the demon's whole body very strongly until the demon was dead, and threw him into the top of a
Kapita.
tree,
Yes.
which then fell down along with the body of the demon, who had assumed a great form.
You can also read the purport.
Purport: Krishna killed the demon in such a way as to get the kapata fruits to fall, so that he and Balarama and the other boys could take advantage of the opportunity to eat them. The kapata is sometimes called
Shatabela.
Shatavelafha. The pulp of this fruit is very palatable and is sweet and sour, and everyone likes it.
Thank you.
All right.
Wonderful.
Thank you. All right. So this is Krishna's pastimes. This is God having activities and pastimes. That's the whole point of Krishna revealing these things. So just for Neil's sake, that Krishna is a person and he likes to play in the fields and kill demons. And that's why he comes to this world, to show us how to have a relationship with him.
There are
Okay.
kapita fruits. They're
Is that like
called-
sitafal? Sitafal?
Not
Not really.
really. Sitafal is a little different. You can see when it's opened. Let's see if I can get the image.
There's it open. It's
Oops.
open.
There's another one down below it. Okay, yeah.
Is kapita just another name for bale fruit?
No,
It's different, okay.
yes, this is it. Yeah. It's called a wood apple. Badra, that's not bale fruit, is it?
Yeah, I think this is a bell
Bell?
fruit.
Bell?
This one is bell
They
fruit.
look smaller. Okay, maybe it is.
It
Sorry.
looks similar,
Yeah.
maybe a different variety.
Some of these things only exist in India or in that part of the world, actually, Asia. Okay, Faye, why don't you read this? Because you only read a little. It's the last verse.
Yes, ma'am. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:11, verses 44 through 45. Upon seeing the dead body of the demon, all the cowherd boys exclaimed, "Well done, Krishna. Very good, thank you." In the upper planetary system, all the demigods were pleased, and therefore they showered flowers upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After killing the demon, Krishna and Balaram finished their breakfast in the morning, and while continuing to take care of the calves, they wandered here and there. Krishna and Balaram, the Supreme Personalities of Godhead, who maintain the entire creation, now took charge of the calves as if cowherd boys. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Mataji, would you help me?
Paritanaya sadhanam vinashaya
It's
chaduskritam.
Shritam.
Thank you. Krishna's daily business here in this material world was to kill the
Discretes.
Discretes. This did not hamper his daily affairs, for it was routine work. When he tended the calves on the bank of the river Yamuna, 2 or 3 incidents took place every day. And although these were serious, killing the demons one after another appeared to be his daily routine work.
Yeah. There's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita. What verse is that? In the Bhagavad Gita? Duskritya. Pratitanaya sadhanam vinasayana dustrikam. That the Lord comes to kill the demons. So that was his main, Prabhupada says, his main activity was killing demons. Anyone have something to say about this?
Yes, Mataji. He enjoyed it very much.
Yeah. He likes to kill the demons. He likes a good fight. Look, he's always coming to fight. He gets his best devotees to be the best demons.
One of my favorite pastimes with Srila Prabhupada is that he's sitting in his garden in Los Angeles with some scholars talking about Bhagavad Gita. And of course, people are against war. No one likes war. So one of the scholars was saying, I find it very difficult to agree with this presentation of Krishna that Arjuna should kill and that he should fight, and that this is the instruction from God to one of his devotees. And Prabhupada looks up for a moment and then he says, no, even Krishna says that there is evil in the world and people with evil intentions must be stopped in order to have the proper society run in a smooth, safe environment so people can carry out their activities of human life. And it just struck me that it's such a logical answer, that evil does exist and God comes himself to annihilate it, to stop it, to change it.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Ian, did you want to say something? Thank you.
Yes, very quickly. All the demons had, the potential of taking different forms. Putana, she came, with a beautiful form. The demon that took over the cart that Krishna kicked and disassembled the cart, Trinabharata came, as a whirlwind. So it seemed that they had so much mystic power that they could change different forms, which is very interesting.
Yeah, good
Yes.
point.
It's true.
Yeah.
Just like the demons nowadays, they have a little bit of gross. It's not really mystic. They have all this gross,
Yeah.
disgusting powers, and to destroy the world. Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad Gita, these demons they invent such things as to destroy the world. Acharya?
I liked in that verse how the demigods were showing their appreciation. Well done, very good, and thank you. Because it reminded me how before Krishna's appearance, that was what all the demigods, they were concerned. Oh, the whole world is overrun by demons. And they went to Lord Brahman, they went to the shore of the Milk Ocean to pray. And that was their specific point, that the world's overrun by demons, save the world. So now they're showing their appreciation. I thought that was nice.
It's very good. Anyone else? Let's see.
No, I'm just appreciating everybody's association, appreciating these pastimes more and more. I was just watching one lecture, and the devotee was saying that no matter how much pleasure the finite can experience, the infinite can bestow more. So the finite will never be satisfied, never reach a culmination of pleasure. So even though we're hearing these things over and over and over again, in all your association, it has become even more pleasurable and sweet. Yes.
Okay.
So thank you, everyone. Well, if
Thank
there's
you.
nothing else, we'll continue. Oh, did I tell you
Acharya.
another one? What's up?
Yeah, I just wanted to say something, and this is not a paid advertisement. In the forum, when Dhruva Maharaj Prabhu, when you shared that map, then I remembered that book, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, and I've had a copy for decades and decades now, and I haven't looked at it in so long. So yesterday I sort of dug it out of storage and started going through it, and wow, it's a terrific book.
Oh, thank you.
Glad
A lot of work went into that.
Yeah, and it goes so nicely with what we're studying now also. So
Yes.
just call out to you for that and a recommendation. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai was written by my husband. Really nice. Okay.
Okay, so this week we'll go on to the next Leelas
Thank
of
you
Krishna
all.
and Balaram. Thank you very much, everyone.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
thank you
Krishna.
for your
Vancha
association.
kalpatubhishta,
Vancha
kripa
Vascha,
sindhubhya
Kripa
vacha,
Sindhuvascha,
patitanam
Patitanam
pavanebhyo,
Pavanebhyo,
Vaishnavim namo namaha.
Oh,
Haribo.
Good evening, everybody. Hare Krishna.